Good morning, starshine.
Welcome to the real world. Whoa! Mortgage your house and buy Bitcoin with breathe air. There's no second best, okay?
GM, 24th of September. It is Tuesday, GM. All right, so looking ahead. So, firstly, obviously, like I mentioned on daily levels, this week and the next move is going to be dominated by thoughts of China printing whatever, fucking trillions of yuan because of the PBOC, People's Bank of China, decision to stimulate, as China is essentially fucked or very, very sluggish and slow. So, you'll see probably an initial reaction like we've already seen. And that could continue. That's actually something that could drag us beyond the highs. The effects of China printing is not going to be felt immediately in price, but it is going to have a knock-on effect later on. If you look at, for example, I won't be able to find it exactly, but you can take my word for it. Or not. Go and research it. But China talked about stimulating a lot throughout late December. I think it was end of the year, and especially going into January. There was a lot of talk about China stimulating, and they actually did and were printing and were easing. Because I think at that point their housing sector was in really bad shape, and it was a little bit of a delayed reaction. It took some time, but then all of a sudden, whoosh, started moving, and that was very much China based. That initial move was very much based in China. At the start of the new year, they really went into printing mode. So that was the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. It took 10 days before the market really started to shoot. So these things don't have to happen immediately, but they will have a longer term effect. You can't unprint $1 trillion or $1 trillion yuan, right? So once it's out there, it's out there. Liquidity is liquidity. And this is the type of liquidity I was talking about. This is not global liquidity as a index, which is one thing. This is directly, we are increasing the money supply by X amount at this date. It's like when the Fed said we're going to add $80 billion by buying bonds. So printing $80 billion every month because of COVID, and then they raise it to 120. That kind of stuff is so direct. It's massive. That's what led to 4 trillion being printed in, a year and a half. And the increases or decreases you see in like a global liquidity index is an amalgamation of all these other things which are not necessarily as directly impactful. There's nothing more directly impactful than when they say we are printing new money, here it is. This is direct stimulus. Yes, we are literally devaluing your currency right in front of you and you know it, so you better buy Bitcoin. It's different. Yeah? Because the Fed are not printing money right now. They're actually doing the opposite. They're doing QT. They're reducing the size of their balance sheet. The US government are printing through fiscal, give it to Ukraine and all this other shit. But that's, again, not as direct as when they fucking airdrop stimmies into everyone's bank account. So this China thing seems to be more on the second path where it's very direct. So anyway, I actually want to talk about Pepe today. GM to the frog. Because I noticed that an old favorite, Pepe Coins, was moving. And when some of the other, so obviously people bet on Pepe, and this happened last time as well. People bet on Pepe and think, Pepe's going to be great, Pepe's going to go up so much. And then other stuff starts to move more, faster. I remember this happening, like back in, the early December, early December, basically all of December, Pepe Coin was moving. And I think that was before Pepe moved itself. It was, right? So this is when Pepe started to move. And then this Pepe Coin thing just blasted off out of nowhere. People were like, what the fuck? Did we buy the wrong one? And then, of course, a couple of months later, with a bit of a lag, Pepe itself exploded. And same again, I think the second move was March, going into the end of March. So you had March over here, going into the end of March, when Pepe was dropping back, Pepe Coin was going crazy. And everyone's like, holy shit, Pepe Coin is the real one. It topped out 11th of April. 11th of April, that was when Pepe actually bottomed out. And then Pepe went on his run. So there is a lag between the two. And it's not just them. There's a bunch of other Pepes, but, in terms of the second biggest, it would be Pepe coin. And I don't see that as a bad sign for Pepe at all. I see that just as Pepe takes longer to reaccumulate. There's a lag effect. It has to reflip its bands. But what I'm looking at here is a 4 hour trend. So I'll be waiting for, if you go to the daily, I'll be waiting for some kind of clear sign of impulse. We've got a nice reclaim of the daily bands. It's consolidating around them. So I would want to see an impulse move on Pepe, a breakout that we can then break out, and then you play the correction and then it continues. By the way, I don't think that happens from here. I think it probably takes some weeks. It might be a case that we go up a little bit, then back down and chop around, and then it happens from over here. I'm not saying it happens right away. What I am saying is I'm watching Pepe closely now, because I still think it's the best meme coin and the one that most people will gather around. I'm not really of the opinion that Whiff is. I think Whiff's kind of forced. I think Pepe, the frog, and all that kind of shit is, I don't know. I mean, they're all just fucking worthless coins anyway, so it's a popularity contest. And I think Pepe is popular. So I would not buy it here just yet. We do have the bands coming back into line, but I would be trying to enter this early into its new trend. So you do have potentially a low, a high, a higher low, a higher high, and it's kind of grinding upwards here. That's true, but also if you zoom out, we have the low, the high, and the higher low. So really, when Pepe truly gets into an uptrend, it's here. It's when that level comes and breaks, and then you get the higher low, and then away you go. And I'm waiting for the first move. To put it very simply, I'm waiting for the first relatively big move on Pepe, because people will definitely FOMO into Pepe, because it's Pepe. And then I'm waiting for it to retrace back. And I think at that point, you'll have the bands have crossed, and you'll be looking to buy on the retest. It doesn't have to be like that. In fact, if it did that, that's kind of a bearish pattern, but you get the point. It's wherever it comes from. Wherever that impulse comes on Pepe from, I'll be watching, not to get into that one, but to get into after people get bleed out. Because now the market's starting to turn, right? So nobody wanted Pepe here, nobody wanted Pepe here, nobody wanted Pepe here. Then Bitcoin looks good, and they're like, oh, what do we do now? Ah, Pepe, we want Pepe, right? That's what people think. The first thing they do is go to Pepe because it's the meme coin. It's at least, certainly it's in the top 3 coins that people would think about. Because look what it did last fucking time. You want Pepe when it starts moving. That also means you're going to have to suffer through a lot of chop, which I'm fully expecting, and I'm not ready to get long Pepe yet. I think there will be some sign. I think there will be a little bit more. Basically, I want to see some kind of move that FOMOs people and then sort of bleeds. And it's kind of after that 1 or 2 weeks of bleed, I think that Pepe will become most attractive. And at that point, we're looking at Pepe for a move towards all-time highs. That's my target, is all-time highs, not beyond it. Of course, if it goes beyond it, great. But I know that everyone else will be trying to get long here or buying there, hoping it goes another fucking 2x, 5x, 10x, and I don't think it will. So I think the best trade will be from down here up to there, and then, take partials, and if we're lucky and we get this crazy move, you get the crazy move. But early still. I'd say we're still weeks away from this being a real trade, but you never know, could happen sooner. So I'm getting it on my radar right away. So that'll be really outside of Bitcoin, the main alt bag I'll be looking at will be Pepe, because I don't see a huge amount of reason to chase into other things. Of course, I'll trade other alts. I mean, that's just, there's going to be some good setups, but mostly, if I'm looking at a swing trade in an alt, I like the look of Pepe. That's it. GM.